Oh, hello there. Yes, well, good grief, the verdict is in. Yes, looks like our Tommy is going to be spending, well, a bit less time in jail, and our Lucy is going to be spending some more time in jail, I suppose. Yes. Anyway, it's enabled our right-wing commentariat to jump up and down about it and do a lot of whataboutery, and our far right-wing commentariat to jump up and down and really shout about whataboutery. Yes, isn't it dreadful that somebody did something bad and they only got 5 years, and somebody else did something that's slightly less bad and they got 5.5 years? Yeah, that's the way it works. People in this country don't really understand the way the law works. They expect it to be fair, which it isn't. They expect it to be just, which it isn't. They also expect it to be punitive, which it pretty much is. And yeah, that's the problem, of course, with the law, is that it tries to be impartial. You can argue that it is or it isn't, but if you do take part in inciting things, shall we say, at a time of heightened civil tension, it's likely that the law will become cross with you. We've had laws against racism in this country for pretty much my lifetime. We've had a whole series of laws about inciting racial hatred in the 80s, which the Conservatives the last 15 years have built upon. You can complain about all of these things and jump up and down about them. That's up to you. But citing individual cases probably doesn't work. Anyway, which brings us to Lucy's case today. And there's a link down below. You can read the actual written statement that came from the judge's remarks. She was crowdfunded, so she would have had very good legal advice, I believe probably provided by the Free Speech Union, although she'd probably have to pay for that. Not too sure. I've seen various things suggesting that Loza Fox was heavily involved in fundraising around that one. Cough, cough. Anyway, basically what Lucy was arguing was that... well, two main things. Firstly, that she was ill-advised, and the hearing took the unusual step of actually inviting her previous defence counsel in to cross-examine, ask questions and all that sort of stuff, and they decided that, no, she'd been perfectly well-advised. She knew exactly what she was doing. Exactly what she was doing when she went forwards, and now has to live with the consequences of that. Sorry, but that's the way that works. The person that was advising her was perfectly competent and did their job absolutely correctly, according to the three judges involved in today's case. So clause one didn't really happen. The second one was the whole mitigating circumstances one, which again has been effectively thrown out. It transpires that Lucy is, well, just enjoys posting very provocative things online. You can argue that we should live in a country that allows that kind of thing. You can do if you want to, but let's face it, it's a very two-edged sword, and all of the people that are basically arguing about how dreadful it is, dreadful, dreadful, dreadful around this case, are the same sorts of people that would like to see somebody chanting from the rivers to sea banged up because they're bad. Swings and roundabouts, yes. I mean, you can, if you fancy, decide that you want to, a sort of hill to die on thing, that you want to have laws around free speech in this country. Okay, then let's do that. But you would very much then find yourself heavily embroiled in the notions of written constitutions. We don't have free speech because we don't have that sort of legal framework. We do have a human rights framework, which, again, if you notice, all the commentariat want to get rid of because it's so appallingly dreadful, because it allows brown people to stay here. And broadly speaking, that's it. Which, is the other thing about bringing in a sort of politicised judicial system. I mean, you can go down the Nazi route, whereby the judges were all party members and decided pretty much, first and foremost, that the party has to be right. Obviously, the party's going to be right. And, sort of made judgments on that basis, which kind of bit them a bit in 1946 when some of them were hung at Nuremberg. Or you could do the whole thing whereby you just pretend that the law is equal and free, a bit like they still do in the States, but certainly used to during the Jim Crow era in the southern states, whereby you could murder someone who was black, and an all-white jury and an all-white judge panel, or whatever it might be, would simply say, yeah, no case to answer, dismissed. Yeah, neither of those are places that anybody, especially one might argue Alison Pearson, bless her slippers and dressing gown et al, really want to go there. But that doesn't stop them, does it? Anyway, should she be in jail? Probably not. hopefully she won't do this again. But I do have a feeling, like I say, that when she comes out, there will be interviews with her, and I think there will be a certain amount of cat out of the bag at that point. Don't post hideous things online. It's awful. It's just immoral, isn't it? Anyway, do have a glorious Wednesday. Enjoy, joy. Hump Day, crawl into the weekend. Yeah, enjoy.